come to you, boy.
I didn't leave to be brave. I left because staying meant dying. The bathroom mirror was cracked, just like my lip, and the sound of his footsteps still echoed in my ears even though he was 3 floors away. My hands shook as I pressed a towel to my mouth, tasting blood and panic. I had no bag, no plan, no phone battery. Just one thought pounding louder than my heartbeat. I slipped out the back stairwell barefoot, the cold concrete slicing into my feet as I moved. Every shadow felt like him. Every sound felt like the door slamming behind me again. I didn't stop running until my lungs burned and the city lights blurred into streaks of yellow and red. I didn't know where I was going. I only knew where I couldn't stay. My phone died near an unfamiliar part of town, the kind where buildings grew taller, quieter, and more expensive the farther you walked. The streets felt too clean, too empty, like the city was holding its breath. I turned down a side road, hoping to find anything open, a diner, a hospital, a police station, but all I found was a gate. But steel. Behind it rose a mansion that didn't look real. Glass walls, soft lights, security cameras sweeping slowly like eyes that never blinked. I laughed under my breath. A hysterical sound. Perfect. I escape one monster and end up at another. I turned away and collapsed. I don't remember falling. I only remember cold pavement and the sound of shoes approaching. "Don't touch her," a voice said calmly. Not loud. Not angry. Controlled. I forced my eyes open. 3 men stood over me in dark suits. The kind that didn't wrinkle. The kind that hid weapons well. And behind them stood a 4th man, taller, older, composed in a way that felt unnatural at this hour. He looked at me like he already knew my story. "Who are you?" I whispered. He didn't answer. Instead, he crouched in front of me, studying my bruised face, my torn sleeves, the dried blood on my wrist. His gaze wasn't soft, but it wasn't cruel either. It was assessing, measuring. "Can you walk?" he asked. I tried. My knees buckled instantly. He sighed, not in annoyance, but in finality, and nodded to his men. "Inside." One word. 2 men lifted me before I could protest and carried me through the gates like I weighed nothing. The doors closed behind us with a sound that felt permanent. That's when the fear truly hit. Inside, everything was quiet. No music. No chatter. Just marble floors, warm lights, and the scent of something expensive, leather, maybe. Or power. I was placed gently on a couch that probably cost more than everything I owned combined. The man stood in front of me now. Up close, he looked older than I expected, early 40s, maybe. Sharp jaw. Calm eyes. No wasted movement. The kind of face that had never needed to raise its voice to be obeyed. "Name," he said. I hesitated. He waited. "Lena." A lie. He didn't react. Just nodded slightly, as if he'd expected one. "And whose blood is that?" he asked. "Mine." Another lie. This time he smiled, barely. "Who hurt you?" I swallowed. Silence stretched. The air felt heavy. "Sure. I fell," I said. His eyes darkened. "You didn't fall," he replied softly. That wasn't a guess. That was a statement. I looked away. He turned to one of his men. "Bring water." "And the medic." Then he looked back at me. "You can stay here tonight." Relief flooded me so fast my vision blurred. "Thank you." "But," he added calmly, "you're not leaving." The relief froze in my chest. What? He studied me like a chessboard. "You collapsed at my gate at 2:14 a.m., he said. "Bleeding. No phone. No bag. No identification. You're either running from someone, or someone is running from you." My pulse thundered. "I just need somewhere safe," I whispered. His gaze sharpened. "There's no such thing," he said. "Only places with better locks." I didn't know what to say. Then I noticed the men around us, positioned too evenly. Too precisely. Not guards. Soldiers. "Where am I?" I asked. He didn't answer directly. Instead, he said, "Do you know who I am?" I shook my head. Another lie. Everyone in this city knew his name. I just never thought I'd see his face. "You should," he said. Something in his tone told me this wasn't pride. It was warning. A woman entered, dressed in black, and knelt beside me, checking my injuries. The man turned away, speaking quietly into his phone in another language. I caught only fragments. Find him, no mistakes? My stomach twisted. Who? I asked when he returned. Someone who shouldn't have touched you, he said. My breath caught. How do you? Your wrist, he said, tapping his own. Bruising pattern. Defensive grip. You didn't fall. My throat closed. I don't want trouble, I whispered. I just want to disappear. He studied me again, longer this time. No one disappears, he said. They're just forgotten by the wrong people. That sentence chilled me more than his walls ever could. The medic finished bandaging my lip and wrist. The woman stood. She's dehydrated and exhausted, she said. No fractures. He nodded. Prepare the guest room. Guest room. It sounded gentle. It didn't feel gentle. As the men stepped away, I noticed something carved into the wall behind him, a symbol I'd seen once on the news. Associated with organized crime. With disappearances. With bodies never found. My heart dropped. I started. He looked at me calmly. Yes. That was all he said. Then I can't stay here, I whispered. I made a mistake. No, he replied. You made a choice. I didn't choose this, I said, my voice shaking. He stepped closer. Everyone chooses something, he said quietly. You chose to run. You chose my gate. Now you're here. That doesn't mean you get to keep me, I said. Something dark flickered behind his eyes, not anger. Amusement. People don't come into my world by accident, he said. And they don't walk out without consequences. Fear crawled up my spine. Are you going to hurt me? I asked. His gaze softened, just enough to confuse me. No, he said. I'm going to protect you. That doesn't sound better, I whispered. He turned to his men. She stays, he said. No calls. No exits. No visitors. I stood abruptly. You can't. He looked at me then. Not angry. Not shouting. Just absolute. You knocked on the wrong door, he said. But the right one if you wanted to live. My chest tightened. Why? I asked. Why help me? He studied my face like he was reading something written beneath my skin. Because, he said quietly, someone like you doesn't end up at my gate unless someone powerful is already hunting her. My blood ran cold. I didn't tell you that. You didn't have to. Then, without looking at me, he said to his men, She's not leaving. And suddenly I understood. I hadn't escaped. I had crossed into something worse. Something deeper. Something that already knew my name. I woke up in silence. Not the peaceful kind. The dangerous kind. The kind that feels intentional. For a second I thought I was dead. The ceiling above me was too perfect. Smooth white panels, soft recessed lighting, no cracks, no stains. No signs of real life. The bed beneath me felt unreal too. Too clean, too warm, too safe. And that was when panic hit. I sat up too fast and pain exploded behind my eyes. My wrist throbbed beneath fresh bandages. My lip pulled tight when I breathed. My clothes were gone, replaced with a soft black shirt that didn't belong to me. Someone had changed me. The door wasn't locked. That made it worse. I slipped out of bed and crossed the room barefoot, my steps silent on thick carpet. The walls were soundproof. No city noise. No traffic. No sirens. Just nothing. I tried the handle. It opened. Relief hit, followed instantly by dread. Because hallways stretched endlessly in both directions. Polished marble floors. Tall doors. Art that looked expensive enough to be fake or stolen. Every few steps, I noticed something subtle, a camera dome in the ceiling. A man in a dark suit at the end of a corridor pretending not to watch me. I wasn't in a house. I was in a controlled environment. A cage disguised as luxury. Good morning. I spun. He stood behind me like he'd always been there. No footsteps. No warning. Just presence. You sleep lightly, he said. My heart hammered. You shouldn't sneak up on people. I didn't, he replied calmly. You were distracted. That wasn't comforting. Where am I? I demanded. My home. That's not an answer. It's the only one you're getting. I crossed my arms. Why am I here? His eyes studied my posture, my breathing, my clenched fists, like he was reading stress patterns instead of words. You collapsed outside my gate, he said. I offered you shelter. You accepted. I didn't accept imprisonment. He tilted his head slightly. Are you imprisoned? I looked around. Open halls. Open doors. Guards who pretended not to be guards. I don't know, I said. Exactly, he replied. That's the difference. I hated that he was right. Can I leave? I asked. Yes. Relief surged. When I allow it. There was. Why? I snapped. What do you want from me? He stepped closer, stopping just outside my reach. I noticed things I hadn't last night. The faint scar near his temple. The stillness in his body. The kind that came from violence, not peace. Tell me your real name, he said. Lena. Another lie. This time he smiled. Not kindly. Not cruelly. Knowingly. You're very bad at lying, he said. But you're excellent at surviving. I didn't ask for this. No, he agreed. But you walked into it. We stood in silence. The kind that presses on your chest. I want to call someone, I said. No. I want my phone. No. I want. Not yet. My voice cracked. You can't just control everything. I already do. That wasn't arrogance. That was fact. He turned and started walking. Come. Where? Breakfast. I didn't move. He stopped, looked back. You're not my prisoner, he said calmly. But if you're going to stay in my world, you'll follow my rules. And if I don't? He studied me for a long moment. Then this world will eat you. Something in his voice told me he wasn't threatening me. He was warning me. I followed him. The dining room was massive. Floor-to-ceiling windows. A long table set for two, only two, despite a building that felt like it housed an army. Food was already waiting. Fresh fruit, warm bread. Real food. Not hospital trays. Not shelters. Not survival scraps. Luxury. You eat like this every day? I asked. Most days. And the other days? He paused. Other days I eat blood. My stomach twisted. He took a seat at the head of the table and motioned for me to sit across from him. I didn't. I don't trust you, I said. Good, he replied. Trust gets people killed. I finally sat, slowly, like he might explode if I moved too fast. Why are you helping me? I asked again. Really? He stirred his coffee without drinking it. Because someone hurt you, he said. And people who hurt what comes into my territory don't stay unpunished. That's not kindness, I said. No, he agreed. It's order. My pulse jumped. You don't even know who did this. I do now. My blood ran cold. What does that mean? He didn't answer. Instead, he looked up at one of his men standing near the door. Any updates? Yes, the man said. We found him. My fork clattered onto the plate. Him. I whispered. The boss's gaze never left mine. Your problem, he said. My chest tightened. You had no right. He broke your wrist. I froze. I never told you that. You didn't need to, he replied calmly. The medic did. That doesn't give you the right to go after him. I didn't go after him, he said. I sent someone. The casualness terrified me. What did they do? I asked. Not enough, he replied. My breathing turned shallow. Is he dead? No. That answer scared me more. Why not? Because I want to know who sent him. My head snapped up. Sent him? His eyes sharpened. You think men like that hurt women randomly? He asked quietly. No. They're owned. Directed. Paid. That's not true, I said. He was just angry, he finished. Unstable? Abusive? Yes. He leaned forward. No, he said. He was confident. I swallowed. Confident people feel protected. My throat went dry. Protected by who? He didn't answer. Instead, he said, "Finish your food." I don't want. Eat. Not shouted. Not loud. Absolute. I obeyed. That scared me too. After breakfast, he continued, you'll stay inside. No calls. No visitors. No wandering. You said I wasn't a prisoner. I said you weren't locked in, he replied. Those are different things. You're controlling me. I'm protecting you. From what? He looked at me like I was slow. From the fact that you already belong to someone else. My blood turned to ice. I don't belong to anyone. He stood. You do now. The room went cold. I won't be owned again, I said, standing. Not by him. Not by you. His gaze softened, just slightly. Then stop running into cages and calling it escape, he said quietly. That hit harder than any slap. You don't know me, I whispered. I know you ran barefoot into the night bleeding and still chose to stand when you collapsed, he replied. That tells me enough. The man by the door spoke again. Sir, the other party is asking questions. The boss's jaw tightened. Tell them nothing, he said. And double the security. Why? I asked. He looked at me. Because now they know you're here. My stomach dropped. Who's they? The people who don't want you alive. My pulse roared in my ears. That's insane. No, he said calmly. That's business. I backed away. I want to leave. His eyes darkened. You can't. You said. I said when I allow it. You don't get to decide my life. I already have, he replied. Silence crashed between us. You're trapping me, I whispered. No, he said softly. I'm hiding you. From who? He held my gaze. From the truth. What truth? That you weren't the accident in this story. That you were the target. But he didn't say that. Instead, he turned to his men and said, Move her room. My breath caught. Why? Because, he said, eyes still on me, someone just breached our outer surveillance. My heart slammed into my ribs. Meaning, he said calmly, someone is already inside my house. And for the first time since I met him, I saw something dangerous flicker in his eyes. Not fear. Anticipation. The first thing I realized was this. Protection doesn't feel safe. It feels controlled. My new room was deeper inside the house. No windows, thicker doors, quieter halls. The kind of place you didn't reach accidentally. 2 guards stood outside at all times. Not obvious. Not threatening. Just present. Like reminders. I paced the room, heart pounding. Someone is already inside my house, he'd said. And then he'd walked away. No explanation. No reassurance. No answers. Just fear. I grabbed the door handle. But my stomach dropped. He hadn't locked me in before. That meant something had changed. Hey! I called. Open this. No response. My pulse roared in my ears. 10 minutes passed. Maybe 15. Then the door finally opened. He stood there. Unbothered. Like the world hadn't just tilted off its axis. You locked me in, I said. Yes. That's not protection. That's imprisonment. Protection becomes imprisonment the moment you stop trusting it, he replied. I never trusted you. That's why you're still alive. I stared at him. What does that even mean? He gestured for me to step out into the hallway. I didn't move. Who was inside your house? I asked. No one. You said. I said someone breached surveillance, he corrected. That doesn't mean they succeeded. That's not comforting. It's accurate. I crossed my arms. You're hiding things. Yes. At least you're honest. I'm efficient. He started walking. I followed, because staying alone in a locked room inside a crime lord's fortress felt worse than walking beside him. We passed through corridors I hadn't seen before, deeper levels, darker lighting, more men, heavier weapons. The house was peeling open, revealing something beneath the elegance. An empire. Where are we going? I asked. Somewhere private. That doesn't help. You'll survive. That didn't help either. He stopped outside a steel door that required both a code and a palm scan. It slid open silently, revealing a room that didn't belong in a mansion. Screens. Dozens of them. Live feeds. Streets. Buildings. Intersections. Faces. A war room. This, he said, is what protection looks like. I stared. What am I looking at? Your life, he replied. My stomach twisted. That's not funny. I'm not joking. He tapped one screen. My apartment building. Another. My old bus stop. Another. My workplace. Why are you watching these places? I whispered. Because that's where they'll look for you. They who? He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he walked to a table in the center of the room and slid something across it. A photo. Nice. Bound. Bruised. Alive. My breath hitched. What did you do to him? Less than he deserves, he replied calmly. And more than he expected. You kidnapped him. I detained him. That's not better. Yes, it is, he said. Kidnapping is emotional. Detaining is strategic. My hands shook. Let him go. No. You can't just. He broke your wrist. You keep saying that like it gives you ownership over what happens to him. No, he said. It gives me justification. Justification for what? For finding out who owns him. My blood ran cold. You're wrong, I said. He wasn't owned. He was just abusive. No, he replied quietly. He was useful. That's disgusting. That's reality. He tapped another screen. A man in a suit, unfamiliar, stepping out of a black car. That man, he said, is asking about you. My chest tightened. I don't know him. You don't need to, he said. He knows you. From where? From the night you ran. My heart skipped. I ran from one person. You ran through territory, he replied. And nothing moves through my city unnoticed. That chilled me more than any threat. You've been watching me, I whispered. Yes. How long? Longer than you'd like. Why? He met my eyes. Because your ex wasn't beating you in secret, he said. He was doing it openly, and no one stopped him. My throat tightened. That means, he continued, he felt protected. I swallowed. Protected by who? That's what I'm finding out. You think someone sent him to hurt me? I asked. No, he replied. I think someone used him to control you. My pulse thundered. Control me for what? He didn't answer. Instead, he said, you work in finance. Yes. Small firm. Data entry. Yes. You had access to restricted client files. My stomach dropped. How do you know that? Because I read them. You hacked my job? I audited it. That's illegal. So is assault, he replied calmly. Pick your priority. Why are you digging into my life? Because people don't attack women repeatedly unless they're certain no one will intervene, he said. And no one is that certain without backup. I shook my head. You're making this bigger than it is. No, he said. I'm making it honest. He turned another screen toward me. Security footage. My apartment hallway. 3 weeks ago. A man in a hoodie standing outside my door while I wasn't home. My stomach twisted. I never saw him. No, he said. Because he didn't want to be seen. Who is he? Not your ex. My pulse spiked. Then why was he there? He met my eyes. Because he was checking if you were alone. Fear slid down my spine. You're lying, I whispered. I don't lie, he said. I delay. My knees felt weak. Why would someone target me? I asked. I'm nobody. He studied me for a long moment. That's what they want you to think. That's not an answer. It's the only one you're getting for now. I turned away, struggling to breathe. I didn't ask for this. No, he agreed. You were selected. That word. Selected. It cracked something inside me. I want to leave, I said. He didn't move. I said I want to leave. And I said you can't. You don't own me, I snapped. No, he said calmly. But I own what's hunting you. That chilled me. You're not protecting me, I whispered. You're using me. Maybe, he admitted. But I'm also keeping you alive. That's not a trade I agreed to. Survival rarely asks permission. Silence pressed between us. Then I noticed something. He was tense. Not outwardly, but beneath the stillness. You're afraid, I said. His eyes flicked to mine. No. Yes, I insisted. You're worried. About what? About losing control. That hit. He didn't deny it. Instead, he said quietly, power isn't control. Power is responsibility. That sounds noble. It isn't, he replied. It's heavy. For someone who locks people in rooms, you talk a lot about responsibility. His gaze sharpened. I lock people in rooms, he said, so they don't end up in graves. That's not comforting. It's accurate. A man entered the room suddenly. Sir, he said low voice. We have confirmation. Confirmation of what? I demanded. The boss didn't look at me. Who's behind him? The man said. And who's behind her? My heart slammed. Behind me? I whispered. He finally looked at me. You're not just hiding from your ex, he said quietly. You're hiding from someone powerful. Who? That, he said, is the price of protection. My chest tightened. What does that mean? It means, he said, you don't get safety without consequences. What consequences? He met my eyes. You don't get to walk away. Silence swallowed the room. You're trapping me, I whispered. No, he said softly. I'm choosing you. That's worse. Yes, he agreed. It is. The man beside him added, Sir. The other party is mobilizing. How long? He asked. Hours. My heart dropped. Mobilizing for what? He turned to me. For you. My throat went dry. I didn't do anything, I whispered. No, he said calmly. You were something. What does that mean? He didn't answer. Instead, he turned away and said, Move her to internal lockdown. My breath caught. What? Now. Guard stepped closer. No, I said, backing up. You can't. He looked at me. Not cold. Not cruel. Resolved. You wanted to know the price of protection, he said quietly. This is it. What is it? He met my eyes. You don't get to leave. And for the first time since I ran, I understood something worse than fear. I was no longer hiding. I was being claimed. Internal lockdown didn't sound like a phrase that belonged to a house. It sounded like something used on prisons. Or war zones. Steel doors slid shut behind us as guards escorted me deeper into the estate. The halls were darker now, lights dimmed, windows blacked out. The mansion's beauty had vanished, replaced by something raw and mechanical. This was no longer a home. It was a fortress. Stop, I said, my voice shaking. I didn't agree to this. You agreed to survive, he replied calmly beside me. This is what survival looks like. That's not survival. That's captivity. No, he said. Captivity has bars. This has consequences. We reached another secured door. A guard scanned his palm. The locks disengaged. Inside was a room unlike the others, circular, windowless, with a glass wall separating two halves. One side held a table and chairs. The other, a single chair bolted to the floor. My stomach dropped. You brought me to an interrogation room. He didn't deny it. I brought you to the truth. Before I could respond, the far door opened. And he walked in. Alive. Bruised. But standing. The sight of him hit me harder than any blow he'd ever landed. You, I whispered. He looked thinner. Smaller. Less powerful. But his eyes, those hadn't changed. Still sharp. Still calculating. Still dangerous. I told you you'd regret running, he said hoarsely. I stepped back. Enough, the boss said quietly. My ex smirked. Oh, so you're the one she ran to. His eyes swept over the room. Nice place. Overcompensating for something? The boss didn't react. Sit, he said. My ex laughed. Make me. Two guards moved instantly. He sat. Silence crushed the room. You broke her wrist, the boss said calmly. She fell, my ex replied. The boss turned his head slightly. The guard struck. Not brutally. Precisely. My ex gasped, coughing blood. Lie again, the boss said quietly, and I remove something you'll miss. My stomach twisted. This isn't justice, I whispered. This is torture. No, the boss replied. This is leverage. He looked at my ex again. Who sent you? My ex laughed weakly. Nobody sent me. That's your second lie. You think I need permission to hurt my own girlfriend? He snapped. She's mine. The word mine made my skin crawl. The boss's gaze darkened. She isn't, he said calmly. And she never was. My ex glanced at me. You traded me for him? He sneered. Figures. You always liked powerful men. My chest tightened. You almost killed me, I said. You don't get to speak to me. His smile sharpened. You needed discipline. The boss moved faster than I thought possible. He grabbed my ex by the collar and slammed him back into the chair. Say that again, he said softly. My ex laughed through blood. You think you scare me? Yes, the boss replied. I do. Because you're a criminal? My ex spat. Because you have guns and men? No, he said. Because I don't need excuses. Silence swallowed the room. Then my ex looked at me. You want to know why he really saved you? He said suddenly. Ask him. My pulse spiked. What does that mean? He didn't help you out of kindness, my ex continued. He helped you because you were useful. That's not true, I whispered. The boss didn't speak. My heart dropped. What is he talking about? I asked. The boss turned to me slowly. You weren't supposed to hear that yet, he said. The word crushed me. You knew, I whispered. You knew something about me before I came to your gate. Yes, he admitted. How? I demanded. Because your name appeared in one of my financial investigations 3 months ago. My stomach turned. I work in data entry, I said. I don't investigate anything. No, he replied. But your company processes offshore accounts. My breath caught. What does that have to do with me? Because someone inside your firm was moving money through a shell network tied to my rivals, he said. And your login credentials accessed those files. My heart pounded. I didn't do that. I know. Then why are you saying it? Because whoever did, he said quietly, wanted it to look like you. My knees weakened. My ex laughed. See? I told you. She's always been trouble. You set her up? I whispered. His smile widened. They paid me to keep her close, he said. To watch her. To stress her. To make her unstable. My world tilted. You're lying, I said. I wish I was, he replied. They said she'd break eventually. I just helped. My chest burned. You hurt me on purpose? I whispered. Not at first, he shrugged. But then I realized something. What? No one would stop me. The room went silent. The boss's jaw tightened, just slightly. You were paid, I whispered. To abuse me. Paid well, he replied. Didn't know why. Didn't care. I looked at the boss. You knew this, I said. Yes. Then why didn't you tell me? Because, he said quietly, you wouldn't have believed me. That's not your decision. No, he replied. But it was my responsibility. I trusted you, I whispered. And I protected you, he said. Those are not the same thing. That hurt worse than anything else. So what am I to you? I asked. A witness? A liability? A tool? He looked at me. Not a tool, he said. A trigger. My stomach dropped. For what? For a war. My ex laughed again. She doesn't even know, does she? Know what? I whispered. That her face was used to move 10 million through offshore accounts tied to one of the biggest syndicates in Europe, he said. That's why they want her dead. My heart slammed. That's insane. No, the boss said quietly. That's accurate. I staggered back. I never touched that money. I know, he said. That's why you're valuable. Valuable to who? To me, he replied. And to the people trying to erase you. My chest tightened. You used me. I protected you. You tracked me before I ran. Yes. You knew my ex was abusing me. Yes. And you waited. His silence was my answer. That's betrayal, I whispered. No, he said. That's strategy. Tears burned my eyes. You let him hurt me. I let him expose himself. That's not protection. No, he agreed. It's war. My ex leaned forward. She doesn't belong to you, he sneered. She belongs to the syndicate now. The boss's eyes darkened. She belongs to herself, he said calmly. And to me. That made my blood run cold. What does that mean? I whispered. It means, he said, no one touches what's under my protection. Protection or ownership? I snapped. Both, he replied honestly. My chest tightened. I won't be owned again, I whispered. You already are, my ex laughed. Just not by me. The boss turned to him. You're done, he said. What does that mean? My ex sneered. The boss leaned in close. It means, he said softly, you survived long enough to tell the truth. My ex's smile faded. Guards moved in. Wait, I said suddenly. Don't. Both men looked at me. You want him punished, the boss said. This is justice. No, I whispered. I want answers. Ask. Who set me up? My ex swallowed. A man named Calder, he said. Works with the Eastern Syndicate. He said you were the easiest way in. Into what? I asked. Your boss's empire, he replied. The room went silent. My heart slammed. Say that again, I whispered. They weren't stealing from him, my ex said. They were baiting him. Using you. I turned to the boss. You knew this, I said. Yes. And you still brought me here. Yes. Why? He met my eyes. Because, he said quietly, they want you dead. And I want them exposed. So I'm leverage. You're the key. That didn't feel better. The man I trusted wasn't my savior. He was my shield. And shields take the hits. My ex laughed weakly. Told you. He's worse than me. The boss didn't react. Remove him, he said. Wait, I said again. Turned. If you kill him, I whispered, I'll never trust you. I'm not killing him, he replied calmly. I'm trading him. For what? For answers. Guards dragged my ex toward the door. You'll regret this, he shouted at me. You think he cares about you? You're just currency. The door slammed. Silence crushed the room. I turned to the boss. You used me, I said. Yes. You lied to me. Yes. You let him hurt me. Yes. My voice cracked. Then why do I feel like you're the only reason I'm still alive? Because, he said quietly, I am. That doesn't make it right. No, he agreed. It makes it necessary. Tears burned my eyes. You don't get to decide that. In my world, he said softly, someone always does. Then I don't want your world. He studied me, something raw behind his eyes now. You don't get to walk away, he said quietly. Why? Because the people hunting you won't stop. Then let them try, I whispered. They will, he said. And they'll use you to get to me. Silence fell. Why me? I asked. Why not someone stronger? He stepped closer. Because, he said quietly, you're already broken. That shattered something inside me. I survived him, I whispered. That doesn't make me broken. No, he said. It makes you dangerous. My pulse spiked. Dangerous to who? To anyone who underestimates you. I searched his face. Including you? His lips curved slightly. Especially me. That scared me more than anything else he'd said. You betrayed me, I whispered. Yes. Then why do I feel like you're telling me the truth now? Because, he said quietly, betrayal is easier than vulnerability. And what are you being right now? His eyes held mine. Both. Silence stretched. Then a man rushed into the room. "Sir," he said urgently. "We've lost Calder." My heart dropped. "Lost how?" I whispered. "He disappeared," the man said. "Off the grid." The boss's jaw tightened. "That's impossible." "He anticipated us," the man replied. Which means he anticipated me," the boss finished. My chest tightened. "What does that mean for me?" I asked. He turned to me slowly. "It means," he said, "this was never about hiding you." "Then what was it about?" He met my eyes. "Using you as bait." My blood turned to ice. "You said you were protecting me." "I was," he said. "And now I'm preparing you." "For what?" I whispered. "For war." Silence crushed the room. "You betrayed me," I whispered again. "Yes." "And you expect me to trust you?" "No," he said honestly. "I expect you to survive." My heart pounded. "How?" He looked at me like the answer should terrify me. "By becoming something they can't control." "And what is that?" He stepped closer. "My equal." That word hit like a weapon. "I don't want your crown," I whispered. "You already wear it," he said quietly. "What does that mean?" "It means," he said, "betrayal doesn't come from enemies. It comes from kings." And suddenly, I realized, the most dangerous man in the room wasn't my ex. It was the one standing beside me. The strangest thing about a trap without walls is that you don't realize you're inside it until escape stops making sense. I stood in the center of his war room, surrounded by screens, maps, faces, routes, timelines, all pointing to one truth I wasn't ready to accept. I wasn't being hidden. I was being positioned. "You used me as bait," I said quietly. "Yes," he replied. No hesitation. No apology. Just truth. "You promised protection." "And I gave it," he said. "You're alive." "That's not the same thing." "No," he agreed. "But it's the prerequisite." I laughed weakly. "So what now? You throw me into danger and call it strategy?" "No," he said. "I turn you into something untouchable." My chest tightened. "By doing what?" "By letting them believe they can reach you." "That's insane." "That's war." Silence stretched between us. "You said I was the target," I whispered. "Not the accident." "Yes." "Then tell me why." He hesitated. For the first time since I met him, he hesitated. "Because," he said finally, "the syndicate didn't just use your identity to move money." My stomach twisted. Then what did they use it for? To test loyalty. To who? To me. The words hit like cold water. "They wanted to see if I'd protect you," he continued. "Or sacrifice you." My pulse roared. And I protected you." "That doesn't feel like protection." "Because protection at this level doesn't feel like safety," he said. "It feels like power." I shook my head. "I didn't ask to be part of your war." "No," he said. "But they asked to make you the battlefield." That sentence hollowed my chest. "You said Calder disappeared," I whispered. "That he anticipated you." "Yes." "Then he's coming for me." "Yes." "When?" "Soon." "How soon?" "Soon enough that you don't get time to doubt me." That terrified me more than anything else he'd said. "You're not scared," I whispered. "No. You should be." "I am," he replied quietly. "Just not of losing." I didn't know whether to scream or cry. "You said you were preparing me," I whispered. "For what?" He stepped closer. "For the moment they realize you're not alone." "That doesn't explain anything." "It will." He gestured toward the screens. "They've been tracking you through proxies. Dead drops. Financial pings. Every move you make sends ripples." "I haven't made any moves." "Exactly," he said. "Which means they'll make one." I crossed my arms. "So what's your plan?" "To let them think they're winning." "That's not a plan. That's gambling." "In my world," he said, "those are the same thing." He tapped a screen. A location. A coffee shop. Near my old apartment. My stomach dropped. "Why are you showing me this?" "Because," he said, "tomorrow morning you're going there." My breath caught. Absolutely not. Yes, he replied calmly. Unarmed. Unescorted. You're insane. No, he said. I'm precise. You said I was under protection. And you are, he replied. Just not visibly. You want me to walk into danger? I want you to walk into their expectations. That's suicide. That's bait. I stared at him. You're risking my life. Yes. And you're okay with that? No, he said quietly. I'm committed to it. That's worse. He studied me. You ran from abuse into my empire, he said. You think survival means escape. It doesn't. Survival means adaptation. I didn't ask to adapt to monsters. Then stop running into them, he replied. Become one. The room went silent. I won't become you, I whispered. Good, he said. Become better. I laughed bitterly. You really think I can outplay crime syndicates? No, he said. I think they've already underestimated you. That's not comforting. It's lethal. I turned away. Why do you care if I survive? He didn't answer immediately. Then quietly, because I don't like losing people I've chosen. That's not love, I whispered. No, he said. It's responsibility. That's not better. I didn't say it was. Silence stretched. You could let me disappear, I said. Send me somewhere new. Give me a new identity. I could, he admitted. But they'd still hunt you. Why? Because you're proof. Of what? That someone breached my empire and lived. That hit harder than anything else. They're not hunting me, I whispered. They're hunting your survival. My pulse thundered. You're using me to prove something. Yes. What? That no one touches what's under my protection. That sounds like ownership. Yes, he said honestly. It is. I stared at him. You don't own me. No, he said. But I refuse to lose you. That sentence hit too close to something dangerous. Why? I whispered. He held my gaze. Because I already did, he said quietly. My chest tightened. When? 3 years ago. What are you talking about? You don't remember, he said. Of course you don't. Remember what? You stopped a mugging outside your office, he continued. 2 men beating a third. You stepped in. You called the police. You stayed. My heart skipped. That was years ago. That man, he said, was one of mine. I froze. You saved his life. I didn't know that. No, he said. But I did. My pulse roared. You've been watching me since then? Yes. That's disturbing. Yes, he agreed. But it's also honest. You didn't help me because of that. No, he admitted. But it's why I didn't ignore you. I didn't know what to feel. You said you don't choose people by accident, I whispered. I don't, he replied. I choose them by pattern. And my pattern is what? Survival. Silence pressed between us. You still betrayed me, I said. Yes. And you still used me. Yes. And you still won't let me leave. No. Then why should I trust you? He stepped closer. Because, he said quietly, I'm the only one telling you the truth. That's not enough. It's all I have. Silence. Then a guard entered suddenly. Sir, he said urgently. We have a signal. From where? The boss asked. Her old phone. My heart dropped. I threw that away. No, the boss said. They found it. Who? Calder. My blood turned to ice. What does that mean? It means, he said, he wants you to think you're being watched. I am being watched. Yes, he replied. But not by him. Then by who? He met my eyes. By me. That didn't help. Why? I whispered. Because, he said, you're walking into their trap tomorrow. And yours? My trap, he said quietly, has no walls. What does that mean? It means, he said, you'll walk in willingly. My chest tightened. I don't want to be bait, I whispered. I know. I don't want to be owned. I know. I don't want to become like you. I know. Then why are you doing this? He studied me, something raw behind his eyes now. Because, he said quietly, you're stronger than you think. That's not a reason. It's the only one that matters. Silence swallowed the room. You'll get hurt, I whispered. Yes, he replied. I could die. Yes. And you're still doing this. Yes. Then tell me the truth, I said. Not strategy. Not power. Not war. The real reason. He hesitated, then softly, because if they take you. He stopped. I lose. That word hit harder than anything else. You don't lose people, I whispered. No, he said. I lose wars. And I'm a war to you? Yes. That's terrifying. Yes. Silence stretched. Then I asked the question I hadn't wanted to ask. If I walk into this trap, I whispered, what happens if I don't come back? His eyes darkened. Then, he said quietly, I burn everything. My pulse thundered. That's not love. No, he said. That's consequence. I swallowed. You said betrayal doesn't come from enemies, I whispered. It comes from kings. Yes. Then how do I know you won't betray me again? He met my eyes. You don't, he said honestly. That's the trap. My chest tightened. And you expect me to walk into it anyway? Yes. Why? Because, he said quietly, you already did. I froze. What do you mean? He gestured toward the door. You walked into my gate, he said. You walked into my house. You walked into my war. That wasn't a choice, I whispered. Yes, he said. It was. My heart pounded. And now, he said, you choose whether you walk into theirs. Silence swallowed the room. I looked at the screen again. The coffee shop. Tomorrow morning. After this, I whispered, I don't go back to who I was. No, he said. You become someone they can't touch. That sounds like you. It isn't, he replied. It's stronger. I met his eyes. What if I fail? He stepped closer. Then, he said quietly, I fail with you. That shouldn't have mattered. But it did. I exhaled slowly. Fine, I whispered. I'll go. He studied me. You're sure? No, I said. I'm done running. Something unreadable crossed his face. Good, he said. Because running is what they expect. And what do you expect? He met my eyes. I expect you to survive. Silence fell. Then the guard spoke again. Sir, he said, we've confirmed Calder's location. Where? He asked. Inside the city. Distance. 10 minutes. My heart slammed. That's not tomorrow, I whispered. That's now. The boss turned to me slowly. Change of plans, he said. They're coming to us. My breath caught. What does that mean? It means, he said, you don't walk into the trap. The trap comes to you. Silence crashed. And the worst part, he added quietly. What? They're not coming for me. My stomach dropped. They're coming for you. The lights flickered. Security alarms pulsed red. And for the first time since I ran, I realized the walls weren't what trapped me. The truth was,